You know what doesn't belong in your epic summer plans? Getting burned by your old wireless bill. With Mint Mobile, you can get the coverage and speed you're used to, but for way less money. And for a limited time, Mint Mobile is offering 3 months of unlimited premium wireless service for $15 a month. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number over with all your existing contacts or get an entirely new number. This is what I would totally do if I was dating on the apps right now. This year, skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank. Get this new customer offer in your 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/dateable. That's mintmobile.com/dateable. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
Did you know you can eat healthy without giving up flavor or fun? I didn't know that until I discovered Washington Red Raspberries. They're a clean, simple, and seriously delicious way to add more nutrition to your day. American grown by American farmers, picked at peak ripeness, and frozen within hours to lock in nutrients like fiber, antioxidants, and vitamin C. Washington Red Raspberries have no added sugar, just fruit, as nature intended. I love eating a handful as a snack throughout my day, and if I'm feeling fancy, I'll swirl some into yogurt or top off a salad. They're such a great summer treat. I won't gatekeep this anymore. Frozen Washington Red Raspberries are one of the best kept secrets in the freezer aisle, and make sure to look for Product of the U.S. on the bag. Want to discover new ways to use American frozen red raspberries and get more details on where you can grab a bag of these delicious berries? Go to redraz.org. That's redrazz.org. You'll find recipes, health tips, retail locations, and everything you need to make frozen Washington red raspberries a regular part of your routine. Hi, I'm Yue Xu.
And I'm Julie Krafchick.
We're active daters turned dating insiders.
Here to dive into everything modern dating and relationships.
Welcome to Dateable. Hello, friends. Welcome to Brunch Talk with your hosts of the Dateable podcast, where we address your burning dating questions, whatever they may be.
And they never stop coming in. There's always another burning dating question.
We'd be out of business if they ever stopped coming in.
I don't think they'll ever stop.
Keep having those conundrums.
I mean,
they really fuel us.
Honestly, if we never had a dating question to answer, I would be like, this is amazing. We will stop doing Brunch Talk.
We did our work.
Yeah. But it doesn't seem to be happening anytime soon.
Nope, doesn't happen. But we will still address all the questions. So that's what we're here for. And the question for this episode is, why did my relationship end so abruptly?
Some more context. I was in a relationship with a guy and we dated for 5 months before it ended. Soon after we met, he told me he liked me. 2 months later, said he loved me and asked me to be his girlfriend. I had some reservations, but a month later, we were official. Everything seemed to be going well, spending 3 to 4 nights a week together, meeting friends, going on trips, and even talking about long-term plans. Another month in, I suggested we do a relationship check-in to see where we were at. I was vulnerable and said I really enjoyed his company and wanted to do this long-term, and he said he felt the same way. He'd even said, I quote, I'd marry you tomorrow if I could, babe.
Whoa.
All this made me feel reassured. A few days went by as normal, and then he called and said it wasn't working for him anymore, and the spark was gone. I was really confused as it felt so abrupt. After we had this check-in, what do you think happened?
Ooh, I'm so sorry that you went through this. I can totally understand the disappointment you must feel in this moment to feel so blindsided. This exact same thing happened to my friend last year, and she was devastated. So I don't want to minimize any feelings you may be having. I think ultimately, like if we were to a year from now, you're going to look back and be like, I dodged a bullet. That person was not right for me. It's hard to get to that place right now. So the first thing I'll say is asking the why of why and so abruptly doesn't actually get you anywhere, because we're not this guy. we're not talking to this guy. It actually doesn't matter. It's his truth that he felt like there was no more future with you in this relationship. And then I think that's step number one, is to say, all right, that's the reality of where this went.
So I'm curious, Yue, from your story that you just shared, did your friend ever get any closure with him? Like, did she ever ask more and the person was actually honest? Or do you feel like it's just not even worth going there with someone?
See, I feel like when we ask for closure, we end up getting the answers that we don't want. So she did ask for explanation and clarity, and he explained himself actually a few times, because she's like, I just want to understand.
Yeah.
Yesterday we were fine, and today you no longer want to continue. And he explained, and she still couldn't rationalize what he was explaining to her. I felt like it wasn't productive for her to even hear the answer, but it ended up just being her trying to be defensive. Like she was like, oh, but I thought, or you said this, or I thought we were, and he's like, but the truth is, I don't feel these things anymore.
A reason I asked is because I also had a friend recently where this happened to and did the same thing, trying to get closure, because ultimately this listener asked, what do you think happened? Yue and I could hypothesize all day long.
Oh, yeah.
But we don't know because we're not him. And going to the source with this, that's why I was curious what your take was.
Yeah.
The one thing that does stand out to me from all of this is just how quickly things did move. And that's not to say that like when things move quickly, it's a sure thing it's not going to work out. But like 2 months later, he said he loved you. That's infatuation, right? Like how well do you really know someone, especially if you're not spending that much time together 2 months later? So my gut on this is that like he got ahead of himself. We don't know why he got ahead of himself. Was it just his definition of love and relationships and how they operated? And then when things got real, that's when the spark was gone, because we've seen that before, is when you're kind of living in this like fantasy of what love and relationships are, the feel good vibes. Like once you get in it and it becomes either a little mundane or, there's any sign of conflict, that's when the spark goes away. Again, we don't know what happened with you two, but I think that is a real thing that happens, is that once it's like lifted, or once people feel like, oh, I got what I wanted, like results oriented, like for you to be all in, then it's not as exciting to them anymore. And honestly, that says more about them than it does actually about you.
Yes. And that was my hypothesis about my friend's situation, is that he was chasing the milestones. The milestones felt really good.
Yep.
First time, they talked about their feelings for each other. When they met each other's families, those are all dopamine hits. And when all of those milestones were checked off, I think he had a sudden moment of like, oh, this is it. There's no other thing for me to look forward to. And I agree with you, Julie. I think that says more about him not able to grow from that. Like to think a relationship is these constant highs is very unrealistic. And you want to be with someone who's in it for the long game. In our listener's situation, I kind of feel the same way. It's like the fireworks stopped and all the milestones were checked, and that was a really fun ride, but the roller coaster came to a halt. Now you're safe. Now it's time to go home, eat some popcorn, watch a movie. And he's like, but I want to get back on the roller coaster, and I don't feel that with you anymore.
Yeah, I think of our episode that we did with Ryan Van Duzer, our long-term relationships for everyone.
Same.
That is exactly what happened. I mean, I think his spanned a little longer than this, but ultimately he's someone that's like very adrenaline driven. And you can argue all the time, baby, it's just not the right person. And for him, we don't know your partner also. Like maybe you guys weren't the right fit and he saw that.
We don't know.
I want to get into this a little more of like, okay, now that we've unpacked this, now what? Because clearly you're still heartbroken. This is still very difficult. But before we do, let's hear a message from our sponsors.
As summer winds down, I'm all about refreshing my wardrobe with staple pieces for the season ahead. And Quince nails it with luxe essentials that feel effortless and look polished, perfect for layering and mixing. Their styles are so versatile, I find myself reaching for them time and time again. Think chic cashmere cashmere and cotton sweaters starting at just $40, washable silk tops, which I have many of, and classic denim pants. And the best part, everything with Quince is half the cost of similar brands, and they only work with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. My current most favorite piece from Quince right now is a button-down linen shirt. I have the matching pants to go with it. Such a great transitional piece, perfect for summer nights right now, and then well into the fall. Elevate your fall wardrobe essentials with Quince. Go to quince.com/dateable for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/dateable to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DATEABLE.
I think the first thing I want to say though is I still commend you for doing a relationship check-in.
Yes.
And we summarized it. This person did say it was their first time doing this, the first one with their partner. I don't want the takeaway here to be like, once I did that, it was too much. And that's why they went away.
Right.
I think if anything, it brings the stuff to the surface quicker. And ultimately, if someone was going to be turned off the second things became more like a standard relationship, that's not always all the fireworks. Wouldn't you rather know that earlier? You also don't want to be afraid to have conversations with someone in fear that the second things aren't just like all sunshine and rainbows and butterflies. They run for the hills.
Definitely. For my friend, this conversation actually happened during a relationship check-in. So imagine that. At least this one happened a little bit after the check-in. But that's a really great takeaway is the check-in is not what scares someone away, it's what actually expedites what is brewing underneath. So that's good to bring that to light. The other step that I would say is to really take care of yourself during this time. I think we can get into this rumination trap of like, why, and should I do this? I shouldn't have said this. Stop that and say, I did everything I could.
Yeah.
I did the best I could and I showed up the best way I could. So my only role right now is to take care of myself, not to try to understand or dissect this relationship anymore. Now, I know what the next question would be. How do I prevent this from happening in the future? Right?
Yes.
There is no way you can prevent this from happening. There's just no way. But even in the way you phrased the question to us, I didn't hear much about how you felt about this guy. It was a lot of him bringing the feelings out, said, I love you and this and that. Maybe when you're doing a relationship check in with yourself first. How do I feel about this relationship?
We do always have to shorten these because sometimes people send novels. We still love when you send the novel, but just for time here.
Yeah.
So I do want to actually point out one thing that was cut that might be interesting. I did summarize it a little, but it sounded like there were a few reservations at the beginning from this person.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually they got on board, and that's when they shared that things were going well and all that. And they also even said there were a few things that were like slightly off, but they just kind of took that as the start of a relationship. We'll work through it. We'll figure it out.
Yes.
So maybe it is reflecting back on like, what was it that made you feel like this? And then also like, how do you own the speed of something? It sounds like you were doing a little catch up to get to where they were. And then they pulled the rug once you were caught up, which it's happened to me before too. It is the worst when that happens because you're like, wait, I was the one that was like hesitant a little. But then you have to be like, why was I hesitant? What was it that was making me feel that way?
It does feel like whoever reveals their feelings first ends up driving the relationship. Because they're like, I love you, your turn. Let's move in, your turn. Meet the family, your turn. Like it helps to balance out that alignment if you can step back and be like, okay, do I actually want to reciprocate? Do I feel like I'm reciprocating just because someone said that? And it felt so good when they said it. And then am I really like on board with all of this?
And I don't blame this person too, because there's so much like conflicting relationship advice, right? It's like, when you know, just go after it, do it. Or love takes time. Like you're like sitting there being like, well, I don't feel it fully, but I know I can get there. Is that a sign that I'm just being realistic and optimistic? Or is it a sign that because I don't feel it,
Right.
that this isn't right? So there's just a lot of conflicting notions happening. So I would say too, how do you drown out some of the noise and like listen to your own intuition? Because I think deep down we usually know.
Yeah.
It's just that we can justify different things. So, especially if you feel like you're in a situation where things are going at rapid speed, how do you take a day to yourself and reflect on what's happening away from this person? And it's not like it needs to be a big thing, like I need to be away from you to figure out the relationship. It can be simply like going to a park with a journal and just jotting down how you're feeling and what's coming up for you. I think getting away from the noise and the advice and you should do this and talking to all your friends about the situation, it's just a lot. And it's hard to like stay true to like, what do I actually feel? And also confident that that is ultimately what matters. I think we can second guess ourselves a lot.
Remember, there's a double subscribe here. It's not just one person's like, yes, subscribe. And you're like, okay, I'm in it. You also got to click that button like, yes, I'm in for this. So before you click that button, it's a good time to, really think about what it is that you're feeling. And like you were saying, Julie, it's like so easy to get wrapped up in this stuff. And it's so easy to feel all the feelings. But there will be so much more clarity with time. You'll see.
Yeah.
There won't be that much clarity by asking questions to him. You're not going to get it. But what I'll offer is what my friend did do was write a letter that basically put all her feelings and disappointments on this letter. She actually read it to him. You can just send it to this person. And just so you get all your thoughts out there, don't expect an answer back. Don't expect any answers at all. But it's maybe a way for you to just clear out some thoughts.
I was also going to say you don't need to send it at all. Like
You don't need
I've
to send
written
it. Yeah, there
letters
you go.
to exes and I don't feel the need to send them. It's a way to get it out. And maybe you can even be more honest if you know that it's not being sent to anyone. I guess like the question I'd have by sending it, like, what is it actually doing at this point?
Right.
Like this person probably knows that you're hurting and that this wasn't an ideal thing to tell you that they're like ready to marry you and that the next day tell you that they're not. I don't think they're that tone deaf that they don't see how that could be hurtful. It doesn't change though the way they were feeling and that they still did this. I guess the question would be like, what do you get out of sending it? And is that actually going to make you feel better and give you more closure? Or is it better to just be like, okay, this sucked. It was disappointing. How do I process this so I trust again and don't feel like someone's going to do this to me again just because it happened in the past?
Right.
But also be conscious of what I can learn from this. Like, were there red flags or things that I ignored or how I was feeling that I ignored? I think the more we can learn and reflect and not ruminate, but do what can propel us forward, that's the ultimate closure you need.
All right, we're going to find some closure in this segment, but thank you for the vulnerability in that question. Really appreciate it. And for all of you out there with your own dating questions, you can email those to us, hello@dateablepodcast.com. You can DM us on Instagram @dateablepodcast. But the fastest way to get your questions answered is to leave us a rating and review in Apple Podcasts or Spotify. 5 stars, please. And in the body of your review, you can write your question there in Apple Podcasts. Or if you're on Spotify, you can just email us a question and let us know that you gave us 5 stars on Spotify.
And remember to pre-order our book right now until it comes out on January 28th. You also get a bunch of resources today because we know that January 28th is still not quite here, although it is quickly approaching. And we want you to be able to, have some of your issues with dating solved, whether that's our modern dating survival kit that we give. And then also we have a guide to dating anxiety, which we know from a poll that I would say most of us are dealing with some sort of dating anxiety.
And the other 10% are lying. Yes.
And then also the questions to ask in the first month of dating someone, especially with the question we got today. Maybe that could have helped, slow things down or made it aware of what someone's values and beliefs about dating and relationships and love were early on, so you could have more information and not feel as blindsided.
All right. Thank you all. We'll see you at the next French Talk.
Bye.